So this is in the Barnet and Potterbar Times. This is just a classic pre-local election row about councillor perks, but it's a good one. It's about the amount that they get for parking permits, which your average Joe wouldn't. The Labour group put in a freedom of information request to find out how much money these were worth. It's slightly out-of-date information, but they crunched the figures and they think that they're worth about £2,635 based on how much it costs to park in Barnet and how many zones there are, meaning that the total value of the permits clocks in at just under £100,000. Now, Labour, who refused to use the permits and campaigned to have them scrapped, say it's unfair that councillors can park free of charge while residents must pay. I find the Conservatives' comments justifying this almost comical, actually. It says, Councillor Richard Cornelius, who's the leader of the Conservatives, Labour councillors are obviously not so diligent in visiting residents and being out of the office, so have less need to get around the borough. The argument being that councillors can only use these cards if they're out in official council business. You can't just take them to the supermarket and load up on your shopping, although how closely policed it is as to exactly why they're out and about, I do not know.
Oh, the plot thickens. Well, let's move on, because this one is very intriguing indeed. The headline is quite, it's quite confusing, I think, but I'll go through it slowly. So, Bungling Raiders fell in a bid to turn over Cray Twins' Pellicci Cafe haunt? Yes, so
people who know the East End of London, its history well, will know this story from the East London Advertiser. The Pellicci's was a cafe with a lot of history. It was frequented by the Crays during the days that they were in control of East London. It was actually used a few years ago for a film that Tom Hardy was in, Legend, which is about the Crays.
I love that film.
A scene in that was actually shot in the cafe. Now, what's happened is a pair of burglars have thought they could turn it over, but they've made an absolute hash of it. First of all, they couldn't smash through the window at the front, so they had to find a paving stone to hurl through to get in. They finally got in. They couldn't fathom how to get the cash registers to open, so they tried to carry off with it. But even then, they couldn't get into it, so they just dumped it round the corner. Now, what Tony Zachariah from the cafe said is all they had to do was press a button. It's a very old till. It was just too much for them to work out. The till's actually 80 years old, and to be honest, even if they'd managed to get into it, there was nothing in it. It's just there for decoration.
Oh, shambles.
Absolute pair of bozos. All they managed to do is break a window and make off with quite an iconic piece of decoration there.
Oh dear. Failure. All right, let's move on, because we've got Hampton Wick Mum says people touch her kids on buses.
Yeah, I shouldn't laugh. It's a very odd story. This is from the Richmond and Twickenham Times. And it's true, this is Karen Ovenden. She's a mother from Hampton Wick, regularly uses the 285 and 281 buses, and she said that people can't seem to refrain themselves from ruffling the hair or stroking the cheeks of her children.
So that's quite sweet then, because initially I thought, whoa.
Yes, I wouldn't have been laughing. I'd been of a different nature. Although, she's not laughing here. She says that she's posted about it on Facebook and found that other parents have got the same problem. You don't know if it's going to happen. Kids have been saying, nobody is going to touch me, are they, mummy? I mean, you're right. It is people who are trying to be friendly. But she says they've overdone it to the point that she has been online to research where she can buy them clothes, saying, don't touch, my mum bites on it. So it tends to be older people. A lady said she couldn't keep her hands to herself. So she asked her if she'd like the same treatment. I asked if she wanted me to touch her, said no, so I ruffled her hair. These are her twins, they're 3.5. And she wonders if it's because they've got, quite prominent afros. She wonders if that's what's attracted people to it.
Oh, I see.
But really, probably don't do it.
Don't do it. I suggest that too. We've got to move on, because I really want to talk about dog poo.
I know. Because apologies to anybody having their dinner, but yes, the headline in the Islington Gazette is why I spray dog poo pink, and it's true. This is a gentleman. He goes by the anonymous title, the Pink Poop Patroller. I apologise again. He's been driven so crazy by dog waste around by where he lives that he's taken to spraying it with pink paint and then publishing the results on Twitter. He started doing this since January, where he found that where he lives in Islington, he has been regularly left with mess there. So behind his cloak, under @KXDogShame on Twitter, he's been shaming people who he says are probably his neighbours to try and get the council to do something about it.
Right. So there's a real serious issue behind it.
There is
a
hygiene
issue.
It is a hygiene issue. It is something that we can kind of think is a bit of a daft thing for him to do. But there is an issue. We know that it's not pleasant if you've got young children around, etc. He's taken very strange way. It's actually Camden Council council it comes under, and their environment leader has agreed to a meeting with him.